KY.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Hear from your government officials,
independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 25th day of February 2022, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to ensure that you observe the rules of the road, and by so doing, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated a birthday over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. For those of you who are ill and are either at a medical facility or at home, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, it is the radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paul Akal, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce my guest this morning, I just want to share some details with you on the 24th of February, yesterday. Public Health released COVID-19 figures for the 24th of February, and they reported positive cases to public health during that period. Currently are as follows. There were 1,237 estimated active cases of COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. 8 patients are currently hospitalized for COVID-related causes, and of these, 6 are unvaccinated. The 7-day rolling average for the 23rd of February 2022 is 58.57, or approximately 59 cases. The sister islands also noted 5 new cases since the last report, bringing total cases since the beginning of the pandemic to 500 130. So that's the COVID-19 update. And one more for you. This is extremely important. The Ministry the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development has announced a partnership with Digicel Cayman. And this is the press release. The Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development, together with Digicel Cayman, is pleased to announce a collaboration which will benefit the community at large. With immediate effect, that is, right away, starting right now, all Digicel customers are able to access the Needs Assessment Unit. That is the NAU. Some of you know it by its acronym, the NAU. So if you're a Digicel customer, you will be able to access the Needs Assessment website and to utilize the Needs Assessment Unit's new online application process at zero cost for the user. This means mobile and internet Digicel users will not require credit, a valid plan, or data to access and utilize the Needs Assessment Unit's website, and crucially to upload information, its new online application form as well from their mobile devices. The ministry's chief officer, Mr. Eric Bush, expressed his gratitude to Digicel Cayman, stating, and he's quoted as saying, "We are profoundly grateful to Digicel for this socially minded initiative. The majority of Caymanians seeking government's financial assistance use a mobile device to access the internet. This generous allowance will instantly enable those persons to use their mobile phones to access to the new fuller online applications and interface with the Needs Assessment Unit, regardless of their physical location and regardless of their wherewithal to pay for mobile data." And the CEO of Digicel, Diane McAuliffe, is quoted as saying that she's delighted for Digicel Cayman to be part of this initiative, which enables our customers to browse and upload data to the NAU site free of charge from their Digicel mobile devices and or internet service. At Digicel, we fully support our customers, the community, and the government of the Cayman Islands in enabling assistance for all. This collaboration will enable NAU users to access the site at their convenience and at no charge from their Digicel mobile device and or internet connection. So kudos to Digicel for doing that. Hopefully the other providers will come along as well. But Doc, they say, nothing is for free these days.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yes.
I wonder if we should look a little bit more, into this. Does that mean, I don't know. But hopefully it's all for free.
Yes.
And, there are no strings attached.
Yeah, but it's good that Digicel has opted to provide that service to the public.
Mm-hmm,
I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
Even if it's for publicity to them, but the service is something that's needed.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has a laptop or a computer, but most people have a telephone.
And not only that, it will be an incentive now for people to switch to Digicel.
Yes.
So that's where
yes.
that's where the advantage comes in for them. But Doc, 1 minute before we go to our first commercial break, but I want to thank you again, welcome you, and thank you for on very, very short notice being able to come in. So many things to talk about this morning as well.
Yeah, thank you too for asking me to come back, and good morning to you and Mr. For the Record, and to all your friends in the For the Record land, and in all your listeners in the Cayman diaspora, and all those listening to you to your show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's good to be back again on the air with you, and perhaps we can continue where we left off at the last show we spent together.
Yes.
Well, there were so many calls that you didn't have enough time to answer all of them, and so many people who contacted you also on the phone.
Yes. And, some spin-offs from that as well. We now see that some preliminary figures have been published in relation to the census. We want to talk about those. Some are real eye-openers and things that we really, really have to sit down and ponder, and we have to dissect it and see what implications it has for the future of the Cayman Islands. And then I see something here where Bermuda is on the EU's grey list until October, and they can't do anything to come off it until October. But for some reason, it seems as if the government kept it hush-hush and didn't let the public know about it. It was only sometime like last night that they found out about it. So it'll be interesting. And, of course, the big question mark will be, where is Cayman in that regard?
Yes.
And, we'll see what's the last announcement that we had from the Cayman Islands perspective in terms of the EU as well. So, folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Dr. Stephen McAfee will continue, so please stay tuned.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
On November the 23rd, 1935, under the direction of Commissioner Allen Woosley Cardinal, Grand Cayman saw the installation of the first telegraph station, followed by Cayman Brac in 1936, through a joint venture with the Cuban government. The building was funded and constructed by the Cubans, and equipment paid for by subscribers and Cable and Wireless Limited. During the opening ceremony, a telegraph message was received from Governor of Jamaica, Sir Edward Denham, and the islands sent their first telegraph to King George V.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Zara. If you are students in Cayman between 3 and 16 years old and love reading books like I do, welcome to the first Rotary Central Video Book Report competition. Record your short video, no more than 90 seconds, on why you love your favorite book, what made you excited, or what made you laugh. There are lots of fabulous prizes. Too many to talk about now. For further information and sign up, go to Rotary Central Cayman Islands Facebook page or email david.rotarycentral@gmail.com. Record your book report video and send it by March 31st. So easy, so fun. The Rotary Central Cayman Islands Video Book Report competition. Rotary serves to change lives.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField, and I'm going to get Dr. McField to share with you the release from government in relation to the preliminary 2021 census report, which has been published. But before we do that, we do have a caller. So let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ossie. Billy Simamba here.
Hey, morning, Billy.
Good morning,
how are you?
Mr. Billy, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Fine, thanks. I feel very guilty having to disturb the talk you were about to get into.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll do it after the 8 o'clock news.
Yes, okay, yeah. I know that we are now near 70,000. I know that much. I caught that last night. Now, I wanted to comment very briefly on the governor's speech at the Chamber of Commerce on Monday.
Oh, yes, about the civil service, yeah.
Yes, about the civil service and so on. You see, he spoke about the accountability and performance in the civil service. It's always an ongoing matter, and I think there's everything good to be said about that. But he also talked about the independence of the judiciary. I noticed that he talked about the independence of the judiciary, but he did not talk about accountability of the judiciary. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit concerned about that because, you know, there's something I learned. You will know better about it, both of you, about whether some judges get fast-track permanent residency. I know one judge, I won't mention the name, who was coming to Cayman for about 5 or 6 years on a part-time basis, only to read that after he retired, after working in Cayman part-time for 5 years, only coming and going, and he got permanent residency. And I said to myself, how can a judge who is working part-time and expects permanent residency on a fast-track basis, do you expect that person to be independent in relation to matters involving the government? Because he is expecting something from the government, okay? That is one. And then the last point is...
before you go on the last point, and did this person then continue to serve in the judiciary in the Cayman Islands after obtaining the permanent residence?
Well, this particular judge, after he actually retired, after working only like 5 years part-time, and then he has a home here and he got permanent residency. So in other words, he never lived here for 8 years. In fact, he was actually living, he was only coming for about 5 or 6 years part-time, and then at the end of that got permanent residence.
Now, do we remember now, permanent residence, and really, the man sitting next to me is the one, the expert on that. Now he's the chair.
Certainly,
but
yeah.
Bear in mind that the permanent residence, there are several versions of permanent residence. So, the person may be in a very positive financial situation where they can qualify on that basis, as opposed to the length of time living in the Cayman Islands.
As a person of independent means.
Yes.
Oh, the independent means, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good point. But at the end of the day, until we know for sure whether they qualified under that or not, the question remains. Because you remember that in the judiciary, it is not just justice that matters, but the appearance of it, the appearance of independence of the people. So it's something that needs to be looked at. But certainly that is a very relevant point. But the last point really is about the judge, the Chief Justice, the governor, never spoke about the weakness of some of these institutions. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have, in my matter, which is going before the Court of Appeal, since there are other means by which I could have pursued the matter, I mean, I went to something like 6 institutions, and despite my documentary evidence, I never got even a reasoned decision. Sometimes you get a negative decision, but it is reasoned. And they say, yes, we've looked at your documents, but we do not think that they prove this and that. I went to 6 institutions: Ombudsman, Human Rights Commission, Anti-Corruption, the Governor, the Chief Justice. I can go on. There are a total of about 7. I got absolutely no reasoned decisions. And to me, I think that if you can't do that, you can't get a reasoned decision in a matter which is documented, I think the governor needs to speak about that as well. Otherwise, this is all just talk. I just thought that I should register those views.
Okay.
Thanks very much this morning.
Well, Billy, again, before you go, because do you believe that governors, when they and of course they don't decide these things on their own, they seek advice and everything, but do you believe that sometimes that they need to be more versed in the judicial process if they're going to have some sort of oversight over judges? Well, when governors are selected, do you think that some of those qualities need to be examined as well, or?
Well, that's very important also, because one of my criticisms against this governor in particular is that he hasn't been very well versed about how to supervise the judiciary. For example, the issue which I have complained about, it's an issue which, if it was a lawyer who had done that, he could have been disbarred. But according to this judge, he said it's not serious enough. But a judge lying is a very serious thing. And so to me, what you are saying is right. If he had been properly versed in issues relating to the standard expected of a judge, I think he would have said that let this thing be inquired into. So it is very, very important that these things should happen. Like, for example, I have, in a few calls to you in the past, I have said that there are no rules for 7 years from the 2016, when the Chief Justice and the President of the Court of Appeal, when they were given the power to hear complaints against their own judges. Since 2016 up to today, there are no rules which govern that. And I've written to the governor, I've written to the Chief Justice, and none of them wants to address the issue, and up to now. So how can you talk about accountability when you, as the person who is responsible for good governance, you are saying, well, I can't do anything about it. This is for the elected government, which is what he told me. And this is for the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, who have also done nothing, even if I've prepared for them some rules. So there are clear problems. We can't just go and talk about these issues when we have live issues that the governor has not dealt with, and he keeps finding excuses.
Okay. Billy,
thank
you very much. Have a great weekend.
Yes.
Folks,
cheers, bye.
Yep, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue, so please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman time check 7:59. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
Looking for better buys and better selection? You'll find it all at Foster's.
This week's specials catalog is full of better buys. Just like Florida Natural Orange Juice, 52 ounces, only $3.99. Save $3.
And you'll also find better selection like keto ice cream. 1 pint, just $5.99. Save $2.40.
With over 70 specials in our catalog, it's easy to save big in-store at Foster's and online with Foster's Go.
Foster's. Better prices because we care.
Price is good until February 9th, 2022. Find more specials at fosters.ky.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Cayman's population has grown by 26% in the last 10 years. Figures from the 2021 census show that West Bay and Bontown are the fastest growing districts, averaging population increases of more than 33% each. The sister island saw a drop in population, falling almost 6% from 2,296 in 2010 to 2,163 last year. The Caymanian share of the population stood at 52%. The Caymanian population increased from 30,979 in 2010 to more than 36,670 last year, with an annual average growth rate of 1.7%. The labor force participation rate was at 82%. It is the highest among males with 85% and non-Caymanians at 91.5%. The labor force was just over 47,300 people. The number of persons unemployed was more than 2,600, indicating an overall unemployment rate of 5.7%. Caymanian unemployment was 8.5% in 2021. Premier the Honorable Wayne Panton addresses graduates at the 49th annual commencement exercises of the International College of the Cayman Islands Thursday night.
While applauding you, I want to take a minute to also brag on you. The class of 2021 consists of 26 graduates, 11 for associate's degrees, 8 for bachelor's degrees, 6 for MBAs, and 1 for Master of Science. The overall GPA average is 3.36.
Mr. Panton notes 22 of the 26 are employed, 4 are full-time students.
17 of you are Caymanians, of which 6 are either civil servants or employed with the Cayman Islands statutory bodies. I personally and sincerely thank you for your services to your country.
The Premier also highlighted the contribution made by the International College over the years. He is the elected Member of Parliament for Newlands and grew up just down the road from ICCI, at one point serving on the Board of Trustees for the nonprofit institution, the first of its kind in the Cayman Islands. In regional news, the Jamaican government is seeking to stave off public criticisms that it failed to adequately help Jamaican students now stranded in Ukraine amid a Russian invasion. According to the Jamaica Gleaner, 26 Jamaican students, some being housed in bomb shelters, remain in the Eastern European country. Some of the students have said they did not evacuate because they couldn't afford to repay a loan to the Foreign Affairs Ministry that they had offered. Last week, the Gleaner first reported that the students were being offered travel loans to leave Ukraine. In a statement on Wednesday, the Foreign Affairs Minister confirmed the loans were proposed. Kamina Johnson-Smith said in a statement, quote, on February 12th, our offer of assistance was communicated to the students by our embassy in Berlin in the form of a loan for airfare to Jamaica, whereby the government would book and pay for the tickets for their return to Jamaica. Although 7 students had requested assistance, ultimately they decided not to go this route. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. On the second day of their invasion of Ukraine, Russian forces have reached northern parts of the capital Kyiv. Armoured vehicles have been seen in one district, and the Ukrainians say the invaders could enter other parts of the city later in the day. The Russians are also continuing their attack from the east and the south. There have been reports of heavy fighting in the strategic port city of Mariupol in the southeast. The Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, has said Moscow is only willing to negotiate with the Ukrainians if they surrender. The Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelensky, has said the EU should impose tougher sanctions on Russia because of the invasion. There's been disagreement about shutting Moscow out of the international payment system SWIFT, which some in the EU have described only as a measure of last resort. The Russian attack has, for the second day running, forced many Ukrainians out of their homes. There are queues of cars up to 5 kilometres long on the Hungarian border. Many people are also trying to get to Poland and Romania. The United Nations has condemned the suppression of anti-war protests in Russia. Almost 2,000 people were detained during the spontaneous rallies on Thursday evening. Demonstrations took place in more than 50 cities, the largest of them in Moscow and St. Petersburg. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Health City at Cayman Bay. Open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 12 noon to 4 p.m. Sunday. Now offering confirmatory PCR tests free of charge at our testing center 2 doors down. Our friendly and professional care teams offer a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Cayman Bay Clinic and PCR test results within 4 hours. We are here to help you save time and feel better. Health City at Cayman Bay. World-class healthcare at a convenient location within your reach.
The chairman of the Liquor Licensing Board would like to remind liquor license holders in the bar and nightclub categories that there is to be no music and or no dance permitted on Sundays. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service will be monitoring all businesses to ensure that they are following the requirements and conditions on their licenses. Non-compliant businesses could result in prosecution or the non-renewal of licenses. For more details, please contact the Department of Commerce and Investment on 244-2287, 244-6677, or email enforcement@dci.gov.ky.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones, and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Head east on Cove Road. Sharp left on Church Street. Sharper left. No, your other left. Did I say left? No, you missed it. Okay, I'm lost.
With money-saving bundling options for home and motor, we're like a GPS that doesn't steer you wrong. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Let's stop and ask for directions.
All right, my friends, let's take a look at your latest weather at the moment. Still 77 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels like about 78, which is quite pleasant. Conditions partly sunny on the outside. Winds are out of the east at 14 miles per hour. Relative humidity 78%. Last night's dew point was at 70. Barometric pressure 30.06 inches and falling. Moderate to fresh winds and rough seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a high-pressure system over the western Atlantic Ocean. So our forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of morning showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. And seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft should exercise caution over the open waters. Later tonight, partly cloudy skies, 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the low 70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Again, small craft should exercise caution over the open waters. We're at a high tide. Low tide is coming up at 12:33 this afternoon. High at 5:29 this evening. For tomorrow, low tide will be at 12:21 a.m., high at 7:15 a.m., low at 1:25 p.m., and high at 6:36 p.m. Sunset this Friday evening is at 6:28. Sunrise for tomorrow morning at 6:47. The outlook is for a similar weather conditions with a decrease in winds and seas expected from Saturday evening. And that, my friends, is your latest weather, brought to you by our good friends at CG Britcay.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report, brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, it's quite a busy Friday morning in terms of traffic coming out of the eastern districts. If you're coming out from the north side, the east end, Savannah Breakers area, traversing through Shamrock Road. Some coming via the east-west arterial. Looking in that vicinity, traffic is moving quite good in the westward direction. And merging with traffic at the Red Bay roundabout. Traffic coming out of Prospect. Still working on widening that area, hoping that they start paving soon. That would kind of help ease the traffic in that area. Of course, traffic is slow pace as you make your way, some going through South Sound. Expect some traffic there. Those continuing on Crew Road, slow pace traffic. Looking down from the King Sports Center. Traffic as you make your way onto the Linford Pearson Highway, and similar to those continuing on Crew Road, expect traffic there as well. Turning on to Agnes Way, traffic meeting into Crew Road, traffic slow pace but moving. Those continuing on to Bobby Thompson Way, expect some traffic there as well, getting past the four-way stop. Those continuing westward bound towards Smith Road, Walkers Road, heading towards the hospital. Expect some slow-paced traffic in that area, but is moving good. Traffic along Holt Avenue, similar. Good movement of traffic around the Cayman National roundabouts. Heading up to the Butterfield roundabouts. Got some traffic there coming off of the Yesterday Tibbetts Highway. Traffic heading northward bound. Some head down to the Godfrey Nixon Way. Heading eastwards towards Dorsey Drive. Expect some light traffic there. At West Bay Road, looking quite good at the moment. Looking out from the Ritz-Carlton, good flow of traffic there. Coming towards Orchard Street into Seafarers Way, expect some traffic as you make your way into the Georgetown area. Edward Street, Shannon Road, all getting busy this morning time. Similar Eastern Avenue, Godfrey Nixon Way. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman looking good at the moment as well with light traffic. Of course, your traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway. Don't feel like making any breakfast right now, you can always head to a Subway nearest you. Pick up some breakfast.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
The wait is finally over.
Logic Internet is now available in the Eastern Districts. You spoke, we listened, and now your internet can get off island time. Get online. Start streaming. Start gaming. Because Logic Internet is here. Logic's wireless broadband internet is simple to switch and easy to install, so you can enjoy fast, reliable internet in no time. This service is only available in parts of North Side and East End. Check logic.ky for more information and sign up today.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Steve Macfield. Doctor, we're going to switch gears and go over and look at that press release on the preliminary figures for the census. You want to share that with us, please?
Yes. The long-awaited census, and one of the most important censuses, the preliminary report has been published now by the government. And it says, the preliminary report of the 2021 census has been published, giving details of the survey conducted from 10th October to the 31st of December 2021, with an additional 3 weeks in January 2022. According to the preliminary report, the total population of the country in 2021 stood at 69,656, comprising 69,350 persons living in households and 306 persons living in institutions, including prisons, dormitories, retirement homes, etc. The overall response rate to the census was estimated at 96.8%, with a non-response rate of 3.2%, which amounted to 958 households, or approximately 2,300 individuals. The non-institutional population in 2021, 69,350, grew by 26% over the 2010 census count of 55,936 people. Caymanians made up of 52.9% of the population, while non-Caymanians counted at 45.9%. The remaining 1.2% of those surveyed did not indicate their nationality. The majority of the non-institutional population lived in Georgetown, 49.6%, followed by West Bay, 21.5%, Bordentown, 20.6%, the Sister Islands, 3.1%, North Side, 2.7%, and East End, 2.5%. Compared to the 210 population, Bordentown recorded the highest growth at 35.3%, and the other districts recorded double-digit population growth, except for the Sister Islands, which saw a population decline. The total employed population was registered at 44,635, with Caymanians accounting to 19,444, 43.6% of the total employment, while non-Caymanians were counted at 25,097, or 56.2% of the population. Meanwhile, the unemployed reached 2,676, or 5.7% of the labor force. Unemployed Caymanians were counted at 1,795, while unemployed non-Caymanians was counted at 873, resulting in unemployment rates at 8.5% and 3.4% respectively. The number of households in the Cayman Islands increased to 29,502 from 22,760 in the 2010 census, while the average household size remained relatively stable at 2.4 persons in 2021. Deputy Premier and Minister of Finance and Economic Development, the Honorable Chris Saunders, urged all residents to read a preliminary report. Final 2021 census numbers are expected in June of this year. The Deputy Premier noted the importance of the census data in matters of national importance, as most recently demonstrated by the COVID-19 vaccination drive mounted by the government last year. Having accurate population data is vital in public health situations. I'm increasingly glad that we took a cautious approach and asked for a re-estimate of the population prior to our COVID-19 vaccination target. It was important that we got it right to ensure our population was sufficiently protected prior to reopening our borders and to meet the targets set by other nations while allowing Caymanians and residents into their countries. We went with the higher updated estimates from the Labor Force Survey fall 2020, which is estimated within a 5% margin of error, and the actual preliminary census population count of 69,656 falls well within this margin. If you factor in the 3.2% of households that did not respond to the census survey for one reason or the other, the preliminary population would be slightly higher than the Labor Force Survey of 2020 estimate upper band, he said. The Deputy Premier, Mr. Sanders, also remarked on the growth in his home district of Bodden Town, which was the district showing the most population growth in the past decade, and noted how essential having accurate data is in public sector planning and decision making. And he went on to say, we all know that the population in the eastern districts, primarily in the Savannah and Newlands and Bodden Town areas, had grown exponentially merely by observation, but to have this proven by the census data is very important. Having this data is vital as we look at how the government must plan and budget for the sufficient provisions of public services such as schools, health clinics, and policing, as well as infrastructure such as roads and hurricane shelters. We have to know where the people are in order that we meet the current needs and also adequately plan for the future, he said. For more information on the Cayman Islands preliminary 2021 census of population and housing report, please visit www.eso.ky. So it seems to me, Mr. Connor, that despite the fact that we have had COVID for 2 years, the Caymanians are still not able to catch up with employment to overcome the deficit of employment with those who are not Caymanians. We are still behind, in the economic market, in the economic market, and as if this continues, we are going to have less and less buying power. We're going to have less and less economic power in our own country, and that is something that I think the government must take a look at, because it means that those people who have the higher employment numbers will also have the higher employment value and will be able to buy homes, to buy properties, to spend more, to buy more cars, to buy more expensive cars, to send their children to better schools than the Caymanian people. And that is a problem that the government ought to take into account immediately to try to rectify. And the fact that the Caymanians in his own home has such a high number of unemployed compared to the non-Caymanians working here who does not have that same amount of does not have the same, and in fact less than more than 50% less unemployed.
Yeah.
And that has to be the census has to be something that has awakened the government and the cabinet, and we're waiting to see what they're going to do about it.
And also that this census should be viewed in the context of previous censuses as well. You know, of course, census in most countries are done every 10 years. So we need to look at, if we were to look back for the last 3 decades, 30 years back, and see exactly, where, how those figures have changed, and to evaluate that, to see exactly, what position certain demographics, find themselves, whether or not they, in terms of numbers, they find themselves better, whether in terms of earnings, income, what their position is, as well, employment, what the position is also. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller before we go to our commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucien. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good and concerned. Based on the preliminary census report, it shows that Caymanians are outnumbered. When you look at the other jurisdictions like Bahamas and Jamaica, we see on our front lines, or their front lines, their nationality. You go in their airports, you see Bahamians as securities. You see Bahamians all around on that front line. You go to Jamaica, it's the same thing. When you come here, do you see a Caymanian? No. That's wrong. Do we have a government or governments that are looking out for Caymanians' best interests? I don't think so. That needs to stop. Remember now when Bahamas, Finland, I think it was, took over, what happened? The Bahamians said, enough is enough. They took their country back. We need to do the same here. It is ridiculous to see that the foreign workers in this country outnumber the Caymanian workers, and we have so many Caymanians unemployed.
Yep, so true.
Charity begins at home. That's what I was taught from a little boy. And I'm speaking to the government. They need to do something. They talk about, jobs for Caymanians. Well, designate those jobs for Caymanians. Don't tell me you can't do it. If it was in Jim Barton's day, it would have been done. Anyway, I'll call back later when I cool down.
Okay, caller, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Paul, another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all doing today?
Fine. How are you?
Fine. Okay.
Thankful, having a lot of pain, but I'm still here. There was Dr. Roy, Honorable Roy McTaggart. It was a documentary on him stating that it was something when Cayman had supposed to, something internal with Jamaica, and all the politicians wanted to agree with it. So he decided to canvass the island and got like 3,000 signatures. Then he took it back to the Parliament, and he explained himself, and he said if it happened with us with that internal or whatever, how you go with Jamaica, and we would be under Jamaica in another 5 years.
That was after the collapse of the Federation of the West Indies Federation.
I'm not sure exactly where it was, but it was a form of a documentary. It was written, and he went to the Legislative Assembly, and he debated about, I think it was like 2 hours, and they decided, the rest of the politicians decided to, vote for what he said. So after that, he got an invitation to Jamaica, I think on our government, when he went there to a cocktail party. So the Prime Minister of Jamaica went there special for him, I would say, in my reading, tapped him on his shoulder, and he said, "Oh, you're the devil from the Cayman Islands that stopped us from getting our hands on the Cayman Islands." So you can take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, caller, if you it seems that you obviously are interested in reading things like that, and you have read some. I would suggest if you can get your hands on, and I was told at one point in time that they were actually trying to republish it. Favorite Son, Mr. Armand Panton's book, and he details a lot of that. He has first-hand information on it because he was involved in it as well.
Yes, he has first hands in it, and I think she's talking about the 18th and 19th of January 1962, when after when Jamaica had left the Federation, and Governor Blackburn came down to Cayman to inform the Caymanian people of what options they had, because we had been administered by Jamaica as if we were part of Jamaica from 1863. And that was the time that Governor Blackburn came down with a delegation from Jamaica to inform the Caymanian people what options they had, and the options that they had, being administered by Jamaica, was whether or not Cayman wanted to continue their whether Caymanian wanted to obtain full internal self-government, which was what Mr. Ormond wanted to have, or whether the Caymanians wanted to become a crown colony directly ruled from London, which was what Dr. Roy wanted to have. And I think she's talking about the debate, 2 days in the legislature, in the town hall, when it came to the vote that afternoon on the 19th, that Dr. Roy carried the day. And then there was his famous, what they call, no gray ball speech, either black or white. Either black or white. But the story of that has not, the truth of that has not been told to the Caymanian people, because what carried the day, what carried Dr. Roy's vote that day, is that Dr. Roy told the people that Cayman was going to go into independence with Jamaica, which was not what the governor said. The governor said that Cayman would have a lieutenant governor, they would have the chief minister, they would have full internal self-government, but what we did not have was a defense force, and we did not have external affair offices. And he says that Jamaica would provide those for us,
and we would pay for
we would pay for that service. That's what it was. We were not going into independence with Jamaica. We were going to have full internal self-government to manage our own affairs, and with not a governor but a lieutenant governor, and we would have a chief minister, which would be with a cabinet, which would be in charge of the country, politically in charge of the country. And Dr. Roy manipulated the situation and told the people who did not understand the ramifications of what they were voting for, and a show of hands, they all voted for to become a crown colony directly ruled from Great Britain. And then we had the first cohorts from England coming down, running the country.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello?
Caller, we want to thank you very much for that. We have to go to a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrid save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Cocoa Fest is back at Pedro St. James, Saturday, February 26, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Enjoy crafts, games, music, coconut-inspired food and treats, health and beauty products, and enjoy local cooks, craftsmen, artisans, and farmers through a shared love for the Cayman coconut. Entry is $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Children 5 and under are free. Cocoa Fest will be adhering to all government regulations to keep our visitors safe. So, go coconuts at Cocoa Fest, Saturday, February 26. Sponsored by Fidelity, Pepsi, Ministry of Culture and Heritage, High Impact Media, Cayman Spirits, and ATV Cayman.
The coconut nut is a giant nut.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve Macfield. We have another caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's me again. I never finished.
Oh, okay. We had to go to commercial break. Apologies for that.
Yeah, just let me finish 2 little words.
Sure.
Okay. Then he said, if it be self-internal government with Jamaica in another 5 years, we would be a part of Jamaica. And he said he didn't want that. He said because our people would be outnumbered and they would lose their identity. Mm-hmm. So maybe you could check up with David White and them there. They can tell you a little bit about it because that's where I got it off of them.
Okay.
Facebook fan friends.
Yeah, like I said, Mr. Armand Panton's book, A Favorite Son. If you read that, you will get first-hand information also.
As you can see, history is replaying right now. So I don't think Mr. Roy McTaggart was doing anything wrong when he was standing up for us.
No, I got your point. I got your point. What you're trying? Yes.
Outnumbered by Jamaican status holders, no discrimination, plus work permit holders. So if a Caymanian or grassroots Caymanians like me and you can't see that, we blind.
But we don't want to point it out. We don't want to point it all on Jamaicans because Jamaicans, while they may make up the majority of the numbers in terms of the workforce, we have all other nationalities as well. Some that are right on the heels of the Jamaican population in the Cayman Islands now.
Who have the highest rate of status holders in the Cayman Islands right now?
I don't know.
Check it out and get an answer for me, please.
Oh, well, if they do provide those statistics, we can certainly
and no discrimination.
get those.
You know, that nationalities all over the world, and when they get in, they can take over and they bring the whole family and public.
But we don't want to single out anyone. We don't want to single out any one nationality, caller.
I have nothing against Jamaicans. So my grandfather was Jamaican. I tell you the truth. YC. Have a good day.
Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. Connor. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to Mr. Macfield also.
Good morning.
Just the first caller, she said that she has nothing against Jamaicans, but her tone kind of betrays that.
Yes.
But what I'm calling about is the discussion on the unemployment with Caymanians. I haven't had the opportunity to read the census.
1,795.
But I think the census deals with unemployment in a general sense. It doesn't deal with unemployment in specific terms. That is, why are some Caymanians unemployed? Mm-hmm. What are the specifics? Mm-hmm. And I think we do a mistreatment of people when we just jump on the bandwagon of the government need to do something. Mm-hmm. Cayman is a land of opportunities, and sadly, a lot of Caymanians don't take hold of those opportunities for various reasons. It could be that some have consciously decided that they don't want to partake in the employment force, maybe because the welfare system is quite it encourages unemployment. Maybe some prefer to just hang around and wait until it's the nice cleanup time.
That does not mean that the government should be doing something about that. You remember what Bill Clinton did to the welfare system in America?
Mm-hmm.
When people were on welfare for generations and generations and generations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The welfare reform where they implemented some kind of you need to work.
That's right.
Workfare rather than welfare.
Workfare, yes.
I understand that, but what can we do when welfare assistance is connected with those every 4-year votes? So is it something that we really want to manage to fix? But again, my point is that there are many reasons of why unemployment exists, and to just deal with it in a general term, I think it kind of enforces in a lot of people this whining mentality. The government should do this. The government should do very little when it comes to the free market, right? This is not North Korea. This is not China. People need to take advantage of the opportunities, and I'm not disregarding the genuine cases where people just can't find unemployment. So some people have made conscious decisions to not make themselves employable.
Mm-hmm. Right? No, I agree. I agree with that. Yes.
So what should we do? I mean, businesses don't exist to operate charities. If I operate a business, I'm in it for one thing. That's to
make a profit.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, I'm not disregarding the reality that there are people who are genuinely seeking employment, but I also don't want to be naive to the fact that you have a lot of people who are not taking the opportunities that are afforded to us, and that I would just encourage people to turn the next chapter, make decisions for your own self. Stop depending on the government. I'm 36 years old, and from time I could remember myself, it's always people, the government. They don't. I'm very tired of hearing that. Let's make decisions for ourselves that will benefit ourselves, our family, and our community.
Yeah.
So, caller, would you also agree that a lot of Caymanians do not have the educational and technical skills which would benefit their full potential and productivity?
Yes, I agree with that, but I would also say that UCCI and other places offer a lot of classes at the same price that you would pay for your nails, your hair, the iPhone, the Samsung, all of these things that we spend unnecessary money on.
Good point.
We could also take and develop ourselves, and maybe we could get those things down the line, but we can't have what the older people say, you can't have your cake and eat it at the same time.
Good point.
Right? So, yeah, that would be my response to that. But I enjoy listening to Mr. Connor and Mr. Macfield, and I'll give other callers a chance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay. That young man has
some good points. He understands the system,
and he is. That's the epitome of how many young Caymanians are thinking today. Because I think what they also realize and recognize is that at the rate that we're going, when you look at pensions and everything else, there's not going to be anything for them when they reach a pensionable age. So they realize we have to start working early. We have to start saving and investing early, for ourselves as well.
And when and what's impressive about his argument is that he thinks the way we did it in the 1950s and 60s when we were growing up, we didn't have the government to help us. The government's to help us with our passports, to be able to be in what you call a waiver, to be able to go some place to make a living, but we did it ourselves. We had to depend on ourselves for ourselves and our own families, and we didn't have government to say, well, help us with a rooftop and help us to buy a fridge and so forth. We had to go out and do that ourselves, and we had to build a house not only today. In 3 weeks or 4 weeks, we did it in 3 and 4 and 5 years, and we did it ourselves. And I think that's what's impressive about that young man. I don't know who he is, but that's very impressive argument.
If he keeps on the track that he's on, he's gonna do well.
Yes.
Paul, let's see if we can grab one more caller before we take a break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. We have 3 callers on hold. I should say also. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Steve. So good to hear you back.
Good morning, ma'am.
I don't know if I have enough time. I have 4 points. I would be willing to wait because I don't want to get cut off in mid-sentence. So
okay, that might be a good idea then. Let's take the commercial break, and we will continue the conversation as soon as we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach. Government's new recruitment portal offers job seekers a paperless online process that makes it easy to apply for more than one job anywhere, anytime. With this step forward in our online recruitment presence, you can keep track of outstanding applications and appointments and receive notifications about your applications. Visit the careers.gov.ky portal and use the new one-stop shop for civil service recruitments to further your career.
For the Record with Chr.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the Record with Chr continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before we rejoin the caller, I just want to say that today is Miss Vi's 100th birthday. That is Miss Viola Brown, 100 years young today, and we want to wish her a happy birthday. February the 25th, 2022, Miss Viola Brown's birthday.
Happy birthday, Miss Viola. You reached up the great century.
And she's such a beautiful and a nice lady. Wonderful disposition as well. Let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. And before I say anything, I don't know who Miss Viola is, but I too would like to wish her a happy birthday. And if she knows anything about cricket, now she's earned the right to raise both her bat and her hat. Anyway, happy birthday, Miss Viola. Okay, Mr. Connor, Dr. Steve. And you can let me say these things and respond to them afterwards.
Sure. That's the best way. This way we can accommodate everyone. Yeah.
Right. But I would like a response to them. The first one is regarding the census. The first couple are regarding the census. Because I was listening and I noted one point about people refusing to take part in it. So I have a question there. Is that not illegal? Like I said, this can all be answered afterwards. Or how should that be treated? And then the other one is, unemployed, non-Caymanians. I have always questioned this, and I'm wondering, why do we have unemployed non-Caymanians here? Because when I had questioned this before and got more detail, these are people who were on work permits who had no jobs for some reason or the other. Anyway, that too can be answered. And listening to the numbers and where the growth is taking place in the island, which I think we all knew that. And one of the things that I have been asking for many, many years is for the consideration of a clinic, sort of like what they have in West Bay, the clinic, an ambulance, fire station, and so on, in the Savannah, Newlands area, because we're caught in the middle. And God forbid that I would have a heart attack before an ambulance could reach me at these days. So now that the census has proven that this area is growing the fastest, I'm hoping now some consideration would be given to that, since it seems we're never going to get that turning lane to the post office. Anyway, and the last thing that I am going to say, it's not a question, it's really a comment. It's something I say all the time. I say, know your history. And do not be reading and digesting and swallowing rewritten history. And concerning what would have happened with Cayman, back in 1962 versus what has happened now, I think if anybody really understands what Mr. Orman was trying to do, and if he had gotten it done, we would have been in a much better position today. Mm-hmm. And I take my hat off and raise my bat to Mr. Orman, because I see him as our true national hero. I put him on the pedestal with people like Marcus Garvey and Paul Vogel, because he wasn't afraid to fight, and he did that. And the real reason, in a nutshell, why it never happened was because the comment that was made was, if we allowed Jamaica to provide us with a defense force and handle the foreign affairs office and so on, it would encourage too many Jamaicans here, and they didn't want all those black people coming in here. That's why Mr. Orman was cussed and called a nigger lover. And Dr. Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. So, gentlemen, I thank you for your time, and I'm going to continue listening, because I would love to hear your comments.
Thank you very much for that. And people have to understand that in 1962, scare tactics were used the same way, that they're used today.
Yeah,
the only thing is that you didn't have, social media and stuff to spread it on.
You didn't have Marl Road.
So you got everyone together in the town hall and
outside the town hall, you had loudspeakers outside the town hall.
Yes. So we have all of those points. Some of them are very important. That one about unemployed persons, in the census, it's important as well. But I think there's an explanation for it. Also, I think I may have it. Let's grab the. We have about 8 minutes before headline news. Let's see how many callers we can grab within that period of time. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C., Mr. McField.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning to you both. Just wanted to have a little quick comment on gasoline prices. The Honorable Premier made a comment that appeared in the press. I think I saw it yesterday, where he said, we can expect higher gasoline prices with the underlying thought of the conflict in Eastern Europe with Russia and Ukraine. Mm-hmm. I wish he was more guarded when he said it, because yes, if it prolongs itself, which I don't see it happening, I see it coming to a rather quick conclusion via negotiations, really. But that's another story for another call. But I wish he had been more guarded, because by just saying we can expect higher gasoline prices, it gives the fuel importers and the retailers the license to quickly jack up their prices, which they often do.
Mm-hmm. But caller, that is saying if you on any international news, they're saying the same thing. So even if he hadn't said it in the Cayman Islands, we would have still been privy to it.
But the point I'm trying to make is that gasoline, fuel prices, oil is bought on the commodities market with futures contracts 3 months in advance. So the gasoline that they have stored in their depots and stuff was purchased way back in December or into January, when prices were nowhere near $100 a barrel. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying,
we keep talking about that, but I'm made to understand now. I've heard that because oil is an internationally traded commodity, that argument And as a consumer, I would love for it to be that way. But for some reason, that argument about what's already in the tanks and stuff like that no longer holds.
Yes.
Well,
because oil is an internationally traded commodity.
No, but I mean, you have to sell something on the basis of what you bought it for. That's quite rational and quite fair.
Mm-hmm.
What the problem we have here in Grand Cayman is that, and of course, when the government was doing off-reg, I was told, because I was then pushing a rather large public petition, which gathered some 14,000 signatures, even though some people signed more than one time because they were so fed up with the prices. But that's beside the point. When I was pushing that initiative, and we had a little public demonstration, which wasn't well attended, which is how things go in Grand Cayman anyway. People complain, but nobody shows up. But when I was doing that, I was calling the government, told, listen, we fallen off reg, or we're doing a new law, and that's going to be the panacea, because we will know that which has not happened. The problem in Cayman is that we don't know the cost prices of we don't know the cost that they bought the fuel at.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's very few jurisdictions where you actually know that.
Yes.
Well, but we should not be ripped off the way we're being ripped off now with our fuel prices. Because I can tell you that if we don't watch ourselves by next week, we will see the prices go up to $7 a gallon, and they will blame it on, oh no, but the price per barrel is $100, $102.
But you know,
what I'm saying, OC, is that that fuel was not purchased yesterday.
Got you. Yes. We understand.
That purchase was
okay.
That fuel was purchased.
But caller, let's look for some solutions. Let's say that the prices do go up. As consumers, what are we going to do? What are we prepared to do? Are we prepared to drive less? Are we prepared to drive a little slower to ensure that we consume less fuel? Are we prepared to take alternate transport? Because, if it hits us too hard where, you can't afford it anymore, then you have to look for other options. Yes. And I think that is what we need to be concentrating on.
What I saw in the paper a few days ago with actually came on ferries, they wanted to start a ferry service from Northside to spots, and then also some other point, which I think is a good idea. But what I will do, I'll tell you right now, if the prices go up next to $6 and $7 a gallon, I will write to the police and ask for that permission to have another public demonstration, and we will go up to the Southtown terminals, and we will picket the exit of Rubis and Esso, so that they will not be able to leave their compound, because we are being royally ripped off, and price gouging and price manipulation and artificial pricing is being done.
But if people keep lining up at the pump, then one set of the population is demonstrating, the other set is out there driving.
Well, we had that carpool and stuff. I mean, those are ideas we say we're gonna do, we don't do. But really, my only reason to call him was to say we got to be well guarded.
Yes.
That we're not exploited further by the fuel importers because of somebody giving them the license to say, well, there's a conflict in the.
Point well taken.
That gas was purchased 3 months ago.
Point well taken. I'm going to ask you to leave us there so I can grab one more caller before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning. Good morning, OC. Good morning, Doc, again.
Good morning again.
The last caller before the last break, the last caller before last break there, the guy.
The young man?
The young man. He made a comment of what government can do. Well, I would like to tell him, not ask him, but I would like to tell him government can do if they want. Because we need the backing of our government. I know for a fact, because it happened to me personally, where an expat was given a job over me that had the qualification. Okay? So don't tell me the government can't enforce or put in law that Caymanians first.
Yeah, well, Dr. Macfield has hammered that over and over. I think he's hoarse saying that.
Hoarse saying that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm hoarse saying that for years now.
Reiterated right now. Government are not looking out for the well-being, and Minister Bryan and them get up there. Oh, their hands are tied. They're this and they're that. No. When he was in the opposition, he get up there and jump. Oh, this has to be for Caymanians. This has to. Elio Solomon was the one that was pushing for things for Caymanians, but what he get? Shot down. It is not happening for us. We need to demonstrate, like the last caller just said, we need to demonstrate not only to the fuel companies, but we need to demonstrate to government that, hey, look, we are in control. We are going to take our country back.
Okay, caller, thank you very much for that. We have to go to our headline news at 9 o'clock, folks. Please stay tuned. The calls are coming in hot and heavy. And if that distracts us from anything else that we want to talk about, that's fine with us, because that's why we call it a talk show. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported updated COVID-19 results for this week. Public Health now says there were 64 cases logged on Tuesday, 44 on Wednesday. 8 patients are currently in the hospital for COVID-related causes. Russian troops are in northern districts of the capital, Kiev, according to Ukraine, and video shows armored vehicles advancing. The government is calling on citizens to make Molotov cocktails and defend the city. At least 25 civilians have been killed and 102 injured in airstrikes across the country, according to the United Nations. Russia has lost 450 personnel, according to UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace. Ukraine's president asks the United Kingdom and other allies to help stop Russia's assault. On an island in the Black Sea, 13 border guards refused to surrender to a Russian warship and were massacred. The Champions League final has also been moved from Russia to Paris. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We still have 2 callers on hold. Haven't forgotten the points that were raised in questions by other callers as well. And as soon as we have some downtime from the phone lines, we will address those as well. So let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I spent one day at a time with Sophie.
Yeah.
With Sophie, I can make 2 points, right? Briefly.
Okay. Okay.
Right. You see that the downfall of Jamaican politics, right, was political influence, right? You're aware the JLP were funded by CIA, right?
Well, depending on what when you talk, what period of time you're talking about.
I think it was 60s, but coming up, right?
I would say more in the 80s, 70s and 80s.
So sorry, the 70s, 80s. You're right. The 80s, right? The early 80s.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad. And now in PMP, right, for the cash flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was bad bath in the 80s. You know, you go. And now that's the downfall. Touching home now, domestic now, Mr. OC.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The problem with Cayman now, right? I understand everything documented, data, census, and I understand the work committee. They want numbers documented, right? Not wrong with that. But really fuller, the problem, right? Our own Caymanian and the want to be Caymanian, right? There's a lot of envy and grudge, right? Because they see the Caymanian have affluence, right? Prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of ladder, but no, right? That's an indicator of deception. You understand?
Yep.
Extroverts, dominance.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
With the point of it now, finally, right? My dilemma now this morning, cut to the punchline now. Back in days, in the old school, see for instance now, you know a hard worker Caymanian, right? You're doing a decorative appearance, you vote for a person, right? He's a hard worker, put him in a job, whatever. White collar, blue collar, put him in a job, You understand?
Mm-hmm.
3 strikes, you out. You step up, too bad. You're out the door. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, you need to go back to the old school in that regime.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people may agree with me, some may disagree. I understand they got young ones coming up, and they don't want to be educated, intellectual, fundamental, whatever. You feel me? But go back to old school, decorative acquaintance. You know it's hard work, came onion, put in the job. You 3 strikes, control tiredness, step up, out the door.
So you believe in a strong work ethic?
Get to the point. Yes, exactly. Good ethic, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the criteria is, the task, the agenda, you execute it, do it, put out. Right? Clock in, clock out, do your do. Wait, call up, blue collar, to the point. But I understand, you know, Cayman politics is about education. Education. Nothing wrong with that, no. Right? But political football, education. That's downfall of the way. Because half of them, they get out of doctrines, and they come back, what are they doing? Loafing, skylarking. You feel me? So, came on the week after the coffee, and I understand almost a year now, and all of the herb not free up yet. That's simple. Right? And there's nothing confrontational about that. That's simple.
Yep.
Now, before we have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, my friend. You have a good weekend too, and please stay safe also. Paul, one caller still? Okay. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, OC. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are thou?
I am good, hon, and I'll be really quick because I know time is of the essence.
Take your time. We'll give you as much time as as if you were sitting around the table with us.
Yeah. So I'll touch on specific points, and one of them to begin with is with respect to employing Caymanians and so on. I've now been with Merrill Lynch under 2 years, and they gave me an opportunity to invite and bring on board folks to do the job. We now have a complement of complete indigenous Caymanian staff, all professionals. No one can tell me that it's not possible, but then no one else could tell me that from 1991 when I was employed elsewhere, knowing that when I review something, I saw the same things that other folks from the UK saw and had the same level of understanding. And this is not just me. Other Caymanian professionals are equally capable. But the problem is this, as we have known, and I'm not going to say too much in the past because that'll make sense. We have never had leadership who believed in us enough to invest in us to ensure that we were a success. So with respect to the modernization of the tribunals that I spoke of the other day when I was invited to the show, I would like us to use that as an opportunity to create an environment and a safe professional space for competent Caymanians to grow, develop, and actually outlive the kind and live the kind of professional experience that they're capable of leading. No one is going to do that unless one of us who cares enough and is willing to do that and put in the hard work to do that, to get that done. And I am willing to do that. So much so, as you know, that I spoke to Dr. Steve, and I have spoken about this on so many occasions that it's just now beyond crazy. I took the discussion also to the Honorable Gilbert McLean because I know he now chairs the UCCI board and spoke briefly to him about ways in which we can professionalize the working environment to give Caymanians real opportunities, not the talk, stuff that you get from leadership, but real opportunities where there's clear investment so that you would have leadership at UCCI who understands the need of the community, understands the need of the economy, and ensure that there's an alignment between the economy, what we're delivering at the community college, and what we're having at the leadership level for UCCI with the board. So it is possible for us to do something, OC, where, and I'm only using the tribunal system by way of an example to show that it is possible for us to have Caymanians who can stand and shine and whatever. When folks say to me, well, they will try to bring history and so on, I will only say, well, you know, me, I went straight to FIFA and I competed among the best and I sat on FIFA's judiciary. So when folks say, well, you know, it was just me and so and so and so, that is not true. Let's get the boogeyman out of the way and let's start talking about ways in which we as Caymanians own leadership and show that we can actually lead. We listen to Dr. Maxfield and you all the time who come on board and who are representative of what Caymanian success actually looks like. So it's possible. The final thing that I'd say with respect to the civil service is the whole idea of competence and competition. If you have folks in leadership, and I'm just making this very general, leadership right across the civil service, who do not want anyone to compete with them, you know, rather than bringing in people who you're going to train up to ensure that they make the environment better, of course we're going to step on each other's neck because that's what we see in the private sector as well. But we blame the foreigners or the new Caymanians who are leading in the private sector, and we say that they step on people's necks rather than actually owning the fact that that's exactly what we do ourselves to each other. And I'm just going to leave that there and wish you guys a nice weekend. But you know me, a straight shooter, call it as it is, and I believe in us.
Yep.
Magan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, you know, Ms. T, for that as well. I really, really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, Paul, no calls. Okay, so Doc, we're going to take this opportunity to go back to one of our callers who had questions. And the first, I've written down most of them, and one had to do whether or not the census was mandatory. And I believe it is, but I'm going to go back to it in a minute because there's I think there's a question there somewhere on the website for, I'm trying to remember, Economics and Statistics Unit. The other question had to do with, or the observation had to do with unemployed non-Caymanians. And, you know, why do we come up with that figure? Well, we first have to recognize that the census, it basically is a snapshot in time. And that is why on a particular day and what the population is on that particular day. Persons who are here on work permits are counted in the census. So that's how we know how many persons are, you know, on work permits, and in addition to what they get from work and everything. So if a household is canvassed and there's an unemployed person in there, but they're on a work permit, then those figures are taken as well. That's why we end up with unemployed non-Caymanians in the figures, because of that snapshot in time. And not only that, more importantly, because residents are counted, legal residents are counted in the census, you know, as well. And I agree, you know, with her about it's important for us to really, really know our history, because just like any other country, there are various, several versions of it. And the way that we're progressing so fast, we're going to have some people wanting to rewrite our history at the end of the day. And when we know it, you will hear that there's another nationality that was the first inhabitants, you know, of the Cayman Islands, you know, as well. Over to you, Doc.
and going back to the question about the non-Caymanians unemployed, you remember too that when the census was taking last year, there was a lot of projects that had not started yet. A lot of stuff had not started yet, and people so that people who were not in employment but were on work permits, long-term work permits, 2-year work permits, 1-year work permits, they counted as well. They counted as being unemployed, and it could have been several hundreds of them. But I think that the caller has a point, because remember that amount of non-Caymanians on work permits were very large.
Yeah.
Were very 873. 873 non-Caymanians were counted as being unemployed last year
and
when the census came.
And we're in the year of COVID as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, we were in the year of COVID too. And so there could have been a lot of people who had work permits but were not in employment at that time because of COVID, and so forth. So, but going back to what I see personally on an everyday basis here, the world is moving into a what you would call it now, OC, into a technical phase, and unlike the fact that when we were growing up and we were working abroad, the employer that we had actually trained us in all phases of the employment that they generated. Engine room, engineers, navigators, captains, cooks, deckhands, everything that they trained us. They took us on board and they trained us up to do those jobs to make it easier for them. What happening now is I don't think that a majority of Caymanians are keeping up with the technology, keeping up with with what's happening, the movement in the world, and as a result of that, a lot of Caymanians are being left behind when it comes to the experience and the experience, not only experience but the knowledge of the jobs. Because when I look in the newspaper and I see so many jobs advertised, nearly every one of them had something to do with technology, and I don't know. I'm not aware of any technology college here. I'm not aware of any college. I understand they give some courses, but
at the UCCI, yeah.
UCCI. But I'm not aware of any technology schools that actually put people out, that turn people out. Not only for Cayman, they can. Once you train in the technology, you can go and work someplace else in the world, and you don't have to work always in Cayman too.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a caller?
No, we have to take a commercial break, but I'll let you finish your train of thought before we take the break.
So that has to be taken into account, and bearing in mind our constitutional pledge in our constitution, we pledged that we would provide a country with an education system that identifies and develops on a continuing basis, the abilities of each person, allowing them to reach their full potential and productivity. That's the reason why I asked the question before. On a continuous basis, it's not that you take out you produce a person who's computer literate today, and then you leave them. You have to always update that because the technologies keep changes. Every time you get up, there's a new technology changing. Yep. So that is something that we can help our own people with, so that they can be abreast the person who comes from abroad. And bearing in mind, we have to be more aggressive in our own country with in the workforce to stand our ground. And not run away when it gets
adversity.
heated.
Well,
helps, yes.
And when we return, I want to talk about something else, because I think that it was one of the news items and a release by one firm in the Cayman Islands talking about maternity leave and extended period of time. And I note on there that the person that the release was attributed to was some director of diversity within that company. And I want to talk about diversity, diversity training and diversity in the workforce. And I would be curious to know what their definition and their understanding of diversity within their company or in a company, what they believe that is all about. Paul, let's take the commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It was Thursday, February 23rd, 1905, that Rotary was born. The vision of one man, Paul Harris. Thereafter, Rotary mushroomed beyond the Chicago club of 4 professional men from diverse backgrounds. Today, Rotary is the epitome of humanitarian service above self. Dynamic, active, effective. A global instrument in pursuit of peace. Working to resolve some of the world's most challenging problems. Indeed, Rotary helped to decide the United Nations Charter back in 1945. Rotary works to eradicate dreaded diseases. Today, we are steps away from a polio-free world. Rotary, fueling human development through varied and numerous global initiatives. Happy birthday, Rotary. 117 years of commitment to bettering humanity. From the Rotary and Rotaract families of the Cayman Islands. Rotary serves to change lives.
The Work Jobs Cayman payment portal has been upgraded. Now customers can upload the application when making an online payment. This new portal feature allows for easier submission of applications. Call 945-9672 or visit www.worc.ky for instructions on how to use the payment portal.
For the record, with Chr.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Chr. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. We do have a caller on hold, but I'm going to ask that caller to please exercise a little bit of patience with us because we want to cover a few things first. So the person who also wanted to know whether or not the census was mandatory. I'm not sure whether or not that was a rhetorical question or not, but the census in the Cayman Islands, it says the census is compulsory under the Statistics Act 2016 revision. It goes on to say your participation is of the utmost importance. If you are a Cayman resident as of Census Day, which was the 10th of October 2021, ensure your household is interviewed. Everyone in the household 18 years or older will be interviewed. So if persons have refused to participate in the census, I am sure that there are sanctions that can be placed against that individual. So it's the Statistics Act 2016 revision. Of course, we see in the Cayman Islands there's always that reluctance to prosecute
or to do anything like that has any adverse effect on people.
Yeah. Now, diversity, and I said, this company that announced, about the extension of maternity leave and leave after childbirth as well, extension of that. So this company obviously has someone who's in charge of diversity. curious to know how many other companies in the Cayman Islands have someone who is in charge of diversity. More importantly, what is their understanding of diversity? Now, we keep saying, and some people say it jokingly, but it is no joke, that, and we see what's happening as far as the census figures are concerned. We hear anecdotal situations where persons are discriminated against in terms of their jobs. So in the United States, they had something called affirmative action, and sometimes we jokingly say sooner or later we're going to have affirmative action here in the Cayman Islands for Caymanians, as well. But what is diversity training in companies in the Cayman Islands if they do have it? I always felt that when you have a new employee in your company coming from another jurisdiction, that they need to be coached in the ways of the Cayman Islands, how people think, how they interact, and everything else. When I was in government as a cabinet secretary, the UK, whenever they're sending governors to other jurisdictions, they send them, as private citizens first. They know they are already identified, but they will send them to another overseas territory, talk with the governors there, talk with other persons. So this particular governor was going to Bermuda, and I was in discussions with him, and he said, "Do you have any advice, for me, when I go to Bermuda?" And I said to him, one of the things that you want to do when you get to Bermuda, listen to the people, listen to them. Now, in Cayman, we are seeing more and more nationalities. Now, I'm saying this and making no apologies because it is the truth. We're seeing more and more nationalities coming from jurisdictions, from countries that have a very, very, I'm trying to find the word for it, dismal racial historical past. They're coming from jurisdictions where they're no longer the dominant minority, where they're no longer in the positions of power. Hence, one of the reasons probably why they're leaving their jurisdiction, because they're not as privileged as they were, before. Yes. And sometimes they come here with their attitudes. Those are the persons that need diversity training, because as we continue to get more and more of them now, we hear anecdotes of people having those experiences and racial slurs being used in the workplace.
Not only in
and
the
no
workplace,
remedy,
but in school.
Yeah, and no remedy from management in relation to it. So we have to be extremely careful. So for those companies who don't have diversity training, then you need to have it. And you can't have a non-Caymanian teaching or lecturing your new employee about the ways of the Cayman Islands.
Yes, you can. Yes. That's absurd.
Yeah, let's got the caller. My apologies, but good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning. We'll see you, Dr. Markfield.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you, man?
Fine. How are you?
Okay. Pretty good. We'll see, I just want to take up a little bit of your time. We'll see the property alongside of the bakery from the police station.
You don't have the papers for that yet?
No, nothing yet. That's what I'm calling about.
You should have that by prescription by now.
It looks like I have to bring in a Fidel Castro team to sort this out, because I can't believe it. That it's going on now close to at least 6 months or more. But officially, I would say a good 6 months or more.
But have you made any traction? Have you gained any traction in relation to it? Anything at all? Any light at the end of the tunnel? And it's not a train.
Have you spoken to anybody or had meetings with anybody or sit down with any meaningful discussions about it?
You might as well try to get a meeting with Putin right now. Because, see, the only attraction I see is that they just keep on bringing the cars that get in the accident up here, you know? And, I mean, they got 3 there, it was like 4 there, they moved one, and the other one I know they've been there from, close 3 years or more. And I no more than, I mean, sometimes the police come and they drive right through and they go around by the church and then they go on about their business. Or sometimes they might go inside to the inside. And I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. Honest to God. It's none of use to try to make no appointments with them, that's for sure. Because, they had to go in a meeting and they're sorry about that. I said, all right, good. You know, so I don't even bother with it no more. So I would just call in and try to get more something from you on the radio to them because they don't really pay me no mind. You know, and that's me what I call about. But as far as the Caymanian people is concerned, I think we lack in leadership when it comes to our people being employed in especially the tourism and the airport where people are leaving and coming in. We need to concentrate on those 2 areas, the tourism sector and the frontline people at the airport, especially. That need to be looked after, I mean, really, really seriously. Because there's nowhere that you can go and bring another national to be working in your airport. That can't happen. That's not supposed to happen. And I know it's Caymanians out there that could capable and honestly take a job at the airport. We got Caymanians that can do that. But why? Because it seems that the government have contracts with other people into the private sector to look after that for them. You understand? And that is what is happening, especially in Grand Cayman Airport. You know? It's ridiculous to know that, I mean, after the people elect these people to go in to get into what you call power or in charge, they still turn around and do the same thing or worse than what the previous government did. You know, it's really disheartening, especially young Caymanians. I can imagine how a lot of them feel that they do really want to open them out now because they're afraid they'll be shut down right away and they'll put on the same list that the previous forefathers or parents went on to.
Yeah.
You know, it just,
but in all fairness to the government, you don't think that I mean they still have 3 years and everything can't happen
in 1 year.
In 1 year, the old saying is Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I think this government, if they do straighten up pretty soon, you know, they're going to be what you call a one-term government. They'll never ever get back into power again in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
You know, that's what will happen because they ain't paying the people of the country any mind. That's for sure. They're dealing with Mr. So and so and how we can get 200,000-300,000 tourists in here in the next 6 or 7 months. You know, that's what they're concentrating on right now. The money. They're in there for the money, my friend. They don't business about Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Mary Green, or Sue. They don't have business with them.
Okay.
Yep. All
right, my friend. Okay. Take care. All the best.
Yes. Take care, man.
Okay.
Bye.
Paul, we're going to take a commercial break. We do have a few callers queued up. When we return, we will take those calls. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the feel.
Classic taste? pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Attention Caymanian job seekers. Do you want to know what jobs are available right now in the Cayman Islands? See all available jobs listed by occupation in the Jobs Cayman job directory printed in this week's local newspapers. Pick up the newspaper to see all available jobs listed by occupation. Then go to www.work.ky, that's worc.ky, to register and apply online.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve Macfield. We have about less than half an hour left to go in the show. One more birthday, Mr. Emerald Mohammed, celebrating a birthday today. And happy birthdays coming from his 3 grandchildren, Alden or Adian, Annika, and Ashton. And also from his wife, Angela. Happy birthday to Mr. Emerald Mohammed. Some of you would recognize the name as well. A teacher within the Cayman Islands government system as well. A very good teacher. Very good teacher. So, Doc, one question for you that you can think about while we take the callers. This person wants to know whether or not there is a difference between paper Caymanians and indigenous Caymanians, and can the government put in place laws only for indigenous Caymanians? The person says, I believe that indigenous Caymanians must take full advantage of that of their indigenousness, and to some point that is that in some points that is not the case. So think about that and be prepared to respond to that call, that writer. So let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, O.C. Morning, Dr. Steve.
How are you again?
I'm good, man. Well, okay, O.C., you remember I called in Wednesday and I spoke to the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Joey Hugh.
Yes.
Concerning the licensing fees for business in the BRAC.
And he did acknowledge that he had spoken to you. It was something that he brought up, but he didn't get any traction on it, but he was going to still try to work on it, despite the fact that he's no longer in the position that he's in.
Hey, with all due respect, Mr. O.C., that was in June 2019. The election wasn't until 2021.
Wow.
And I have the letter there.
Okay.
Now you're hearing talk about it would have been this big part of stuff. This came about when the people was moving from going to Grand Cayman in the early 70s. Our 2 representatives then, I believe, with Mr. Trevor Camkey, might have been, they asked then for the prices to be reduced to half of what it is in Grand Cayman. Okay? Now, you know the population in Grand Cayman at that time about 10, 12,000, about 3. Okay? Now, the statistic that I showed him, I've been begging on this for them. Listen, it's not only about the distributor thing, because I have to have a distributor to sell to the buyer. That's the law.
Yeah.
The law says that.
Yeah.
And I can use my distributorship to bring in stuff too. But I don't have the volume. But I have to do it if I want to sell any bar. Okay, now, Mr. O.C., I pay 50% of that, right? And the bar, like you in the book, there's no retail license. I pay $2,400 distributor, $750 retail, and $500 to sell cigarettes. You hear what I tell you? And that is half of the price in Grand Cayman. No, Mr. Orlet, I talked to Mose and I talked to them. I begged. I said, okay,
Joey, I said, Joey, the government is making $42 off of every cartoon of cigarette that I sell. And the little black, you think that I really should pay $500 a year for a license too? I mean, you guys are taking everything out of the business. And Mr. Audit, you hear what the census say again? The population has dropped and came back again, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. No, Dr. Steve, you know this. Also, you know this. But it's big. It is a law. Somebody, Joey, them had to say, listen, fellas, I going to move this motion for us because this is what happening. We got 65,000 people, 68,000 people in Grand Cayman on a daily basis. We got 1 million tourists. Cayman back, they got 2,000, just over 2,000 people. 400-500 tourists maximum. We need to reduce these prices now from 50% from how they was in the 70s to help the small business and any business in Cayman Brac. Any business.
What percentage do you think it should be brought down to?
No more than 10%, 5%. It should just be for the paperwork. Because, Mr. O.C., we have to pay the same duties. Now, I would never try to say, well, okay, you can get the duties less in Cayman Brac, and maybe that would be a good idea too, because we could sell cheaper. Right? Because remember, we have to buy direct out of Grand Cayman. Because we don't have the volume. And all it took with the PPM government, because we had two powerhouses there, the deputy premier and Mr. O'Connor, and everybody in that house was saying something. I can see where the guy in Cayman Brac. Look here, I'm not begging for nothing now.
Exactly. Yeah.
My shop is open. I work 6 days a week, OC. And all I'm working for is paying duties to the government and license fees to the government. I mean, it is so unfair. You got 70,000 to 60,000 people versus 2,000, and you have to pay half. And not only me, all the business have to do it, you know.
Yeah.
It is utterly unfair, and I'm asking this government now. I can write a letter to whoever's in charge, because the last government, they could have done it. When you was in the power, you can do what you want to do. And one of the things they told me that your government's supposed to do is help your people, especially the ones that is willing to get out of the bed 6 days a week, 7 days a week and work. I think they deserve some help.
Yeah. Now, question for you. So, if you were to get those fees reduced, let's say to 10% or even 25%, would the consumers in the BRAC see a difference in the prices? Would you be able then to reduce your prices to them?
Well, let's put it this way. I could drop on a little more specials and this that. That would be almost $4,000 per year that I didn't have to pay into the government. So I could do little raffles, I could do it, you know. But boy, when you, let me tell you something. I know the liquor business is a high tax, but you're getting it off the tax. You don't have to get it off the license.
Yeah.
The license should be just a formality. Look in Grand Cayman. Look at the business that's clicking down there. I mean, it's no comparison.
Yeah, you have your numbers right. You're absolutely right with the numbers that for a population of 2,000, when you look at the amount of license and fees that they're getting, really, does it really make any sort of impact on the government's revenue? The question is why is it being done? I'm going to ask you to leave us there. Of course, we, God's willing, we'll be on next week. And if you want to call and hammer it home again, they always say the squeaker wheel is the one that gets the grease. So keep hammering it home. We're going to try to grab one more caller before we go to our last commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm Dr. Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Gentlemen, this is Richard Bernard Sr.
Yes.
Two things I want to say this morning. First thing is, why is the Georgetown Post Office charging people 100% of a late fee for example, you have an inside box that is $30.
Mm-hmm.
They give you a notice that it should be paid by the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
Some reason you didn't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go in to pay it, it tells you, well, because you paid it late, that you have to pay an extra $30. That is a whole year's fee.
As a late fee.
I agree with paying a late fee.
Uh-huh. But it shouldn't be 100% of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
I agree to pay a late fee, just like what you see and the water company does. If you pay your bill late, they charge you a fee. Right? But to pay a whole year's fee for just a couple days late, in addition, they send you a notice that if that fee isn't paid, which is the 100%, isn't paid by the 11th, not even the middle of February, the box will be confiscated.
Wow.
Now, I've spoken to some other box owners, like myself, that has had our boxes from back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid mine and had to pay the 100% as well. But I think that is definitely wrong. It is highway robbery. And, you know, the hospital or the post office administration really needs to look into this.
Yeah.
Because
government's action should be rational. It should be reasonable
and proportional.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't sound as if either one of those are applied there, caller.
That's it. Right. The other point I want to make is, have you heard any more about the director of tourism studies at UCCI? Because everything seems to have gone silent.
Yeah, we haven't heard any more, but like most things, yeah. Good question. We'll keep that one, in the radar, on our radar as well. Caller, thank you very much for that. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe as well, folks. We're going to take our last commercial break. We have several WhatsApp messages and stuff. So, Paul, what we're going to do? We're going to close the phone lines off when we return. So that we can close out with sharing the other messages that we received as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Government's new recruitment portal offers job seekers a paperless online process that makes it easy to apply for more than one job anywhere, anytime. With this step forward in our online recruitment presence, you can keep track of outstanding applications and appointments and receive notifications about your applications. Visit the careers.gov.ky portal and use the new one-stop shop for civil service recruitment to further your career.
Mommy, Daddy, Auntie, Uncle,
please go get your COVID-19 booster shot and take care of yourself. You're the reason I got vaccinated.
You must practice social distancing and proper hand hygiene and never forget your mask. Help me, help you. Get your COVID-19 booster shot and take care of conditions that make you vulnerable. Get boosted. We're in this together.
Visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus to learn more.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Very interesting show. Very exciting. Lots of comments, various topics as well. We have one more birthday greeting here, and we understand that Miss Brenda Hyde is celebrating a birthday today, and so Sheila is wishing you a happy birthday. Happy birthday to Miss Brenda Hyde. So, Doc, in addition to that status question,
yes.
Just one more observation here, and then I'm going to get you to answer that. This person says, I do hope that our representatives and chief officers and the deputy governor's office, that they're all listening to the concerns, views, and solutions being offered. The civil service is the prime establishment. They should be more transparent as to the hiring of foreigners and Caymanians, of foreigners. And they go on to say, and Caymanians are overlooked and ignored, and this is happening in our country. The person goes on to say they hold and have qualified requirements in specialized jobs, that some of those have as well. Then I just want to add to that, and the show that we were talking about employment in the Cayman Islands and persons coming back and about government bonding and stuff. I know of a young person who is a dentist and basically is working in the private sector because no space for her.
She's working at the dental clinic in Cayman Bay. Is that the one?
I'm not sure which one, but they're working in the private sector as opposed to working for government again. That they wanted to share that with me as an example of what is taking place when people go away and return.
That doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so Caymanian. Now this new term has come about, indigenous Caymanian. We see that one being coined now as well.
So to the caller, or to the person who asked for the request, there is no. The difference in law between an indigenous Caymanian and a person who got Caymanian status. They're all one and the same. The immigration transition law says that they're all one and the same. However, traditionally, historically, the indigenous Caymanians feel and think and believe, and to my estimation too, that they have a indigenous rights over anybody who came after them. That is the reality of the situation, and but it's not only the Caymanians feel that the indigenous people in Canada also feel the same way, and the indigenous people in America feel the same way. This is the problem that has arisen internationally, and I don't know how it's going to be. We are going to be able to solve it, but even in Cayman right now, as an indigenous Caymanian, I don't have anything to show that I'm an indigenous Caymanian. I don't have anything to identify me as an indigenous Caymanian. But the person who obtains Caymanian status, who comes in later on, has a piece of paper to show that who he is and that can identify him. I don't have that at all because the passport is not doesn't prove that you are an indigenous Caymanian. The passport now is only a document of identification, but it doesn't determine what your status is.
And the problem, and this is what I find offensive, and the government still, when I said the governments still have not found a solution to it.
Yes.
If I were to be going to the private sector now, if I was hired there, one of the requirements that any company out there is likely to want me to satisfy would be proof that I am Caymanian.
Yes.
So then I would have to go to the immigration department, chief immigration officer, seek a letter from them acknowledging that I possess Caymanian status, that I am Caymanian.
I still have to do
How
that.
repugnant
I have to still
can it be? You're making an indigenous Caymanian, you're treating him as a second-class
citizen in his own indigenous country.
The only thing that I could almost equate that to would be the past laws that they had in South Africa during the apartheid period, where you, in order for you to be in any one area, you had to show your pass card that you had permission to be in that area. That is what I equate the fact that natural-born Caymanians have to go and show these companies the fact. Now, I understand why they have their concerns, because they don't supposedly don't want to fall foul of the law. But the same way that you can have your diversity training, you can have your diversity officer, and we know that some law firms in the Cayman Islands in the 80s and 90s, when they were being pushed to employ Caymanian lawyers and make Caymanians partners, they called it, the cost of doing business, in the Cayman Islands, hiring a Caymanian so that they could get work permits for others. That was the cost of doing business. So for the cost of doing business in the Cayman Islands, why don't you hire someone with immigration and nationality skills in your office who can look at documentation and make a determination as to whether or not a person possesses Caymanian status? Because we still have all of our immigration laws in the Cayman Islands from 1972 onwards.
That's right.
And if any lawyer who's worth his salt would be able to determine, based on the evidence provided, whether or not that person possesses Caymanian status. So, Mr. Private Sector out there, you need to do more as well. And Mr. Government, you need to ensure that Caymanians are not put in that position any longer. It is demeaning.
That's right, and that brings me to the issue that was in the newspaper a couple of weekdays ago about a guy called Carbo Rivers.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
A Cuban national who was able to obtain asylum here. Now, you have been in that business longer than I have been, but can you just quickly say what asylum is? How do you get asylum?
Well, political asylum is the fact that you're able to establish the fact that your fear of persecution based on religion, political views, and other things in your country of birth. And that if you return there, you will be subjected again to more persecution.
Yeah, well, this gentleman has returned to Cuba after he was able to convince that all of those things would happen to him if he returned to Cuba, was able to return to Cuba regularly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month, I understand, dealing in currency, large amounts of currency, and going back and forth to Cuba. And the terms that they gave him was that he was a Cuban higgler. That means buying and selling between Cuba. He does not work for a living, I understand. Wow. He obtains assistance from the NEU, and he was caught the other day with large sums of money, $10,000 US $800 EU, and he was also convicted of some time ago for stealing something from Foster's, and was fined $300. How the Doc Dickens was he able to get asylum?
Well, I will say this much, Doc. Remember in 1996, 1997, we had Tent City up there, right? The UK at that point in time, and Tent City, the US was taking some of them. We had over 1,200 migrants. U.S. was taking some of them back to Guantanamo Bay. They dispersed them throughout the U.S. This was during Clinton's presidency. The UK said to us, "Oh, you have to do your part by accepting some of them as refugees here." They didn't say, "We, the UK, will do our part and take some of them over in the UK.
Yes.
They told us so. We had to, and at that point in time, we didn't have legislation as far in local legislation as far as refugees were concerned. That came after. So we had to use the UN handbook, the protocols and stuff like that. We had to use it. And we had to painstakingly look through the family backgrounds and stuff to see which ones we could deem to be acceptable here in the Cayman Islands that would not place too much burden on us. I don't know if he fell into that category or what, but I know that we granted at least 24 or maybe more, because the UK said to us, you have to do your part and you have to accept some of them here as genuine refugees.
Well, in the light of this new evidence now, that he has no problem going back to Cuba back and forth. He's a healer and dealing with money. Don't you think that we should review that?
It would, but you can expect humanitarian organizations to come down, against you, and then of course you have to ensure because there is in the handbook, the refugee handbook, there is a section in there that talks about if you avail yourself to the protection of the country that you fled from in the first place, which in my opinion, by him returning to Cuba, he has availed himself to the protection of the Cuban. Once you enter onto the Cuban soil again. So I believe that there would certainly be grounds, but now the question is whether or not we have anyone bold enough
to do so
in the legal department to go ahead and challenge
that's the question.
Doc, I want to thank you very much for being here this morning again. Very good conversation, lots to talk about, and we hope and we trust that we were able to impart information on to our listeners and our viewers as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. John Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman.